You know that feeling, right? You ask an AI a really complex question. You're hoping for this brilliant, game-changing strategy, and you just get back a generic, wishy-washy response. We've all been there. Well, today, we're going to dive into a technique that can literally transform your AI from a simple answer machine into a real strategic thinking partner. Yeah, it's a super common frustration. You're looking for that deep, actionable insight, but the answer you get just feels like it's barely skimming the surface. And here's why. Most of the time, our standard prompts are forcing the AI down a single, straight path. It never even gets a chance to consider any detours. And that gets to the heart of it, right? We need to move away from this linear process, kind of like you see on the left, where one single thought leads to one single answer. Instead, we need to move to something more expansive, like what's happening on the right, a process where the AI actually explores tons of possibilities to find not just an answer, but the best possible answer. Okay, let's break this down. The standard method, which you might have heard of as chain of thought, is pretty powerful, but it's kind of like driving down a single road. The problem is, it has no idea if there was a better, faster, or way more scenic route it missed a few miles back. The process itself is really logical, right? The AI gets a problem, it reasons through it one step at a time, and then it lands on a conclusion. But here's the catch. By committing to that very first step, it might have already shut the door on a much more creative or brilliant solution that it never ever even considered. So how do we fix this? Well, we have to teach the AI to think less like a simple calculator and a lot more like a chess grandmaster. Think about it. A grandmaster doesn't just plan their very next move. No, they're visualizing dozens of possible future moves, evaluating whole branches of possibilities, all before they choose the absolute best path. And that is the core idea behind Tree of Thoughts, or TOT. Instead of one single chain, the AI creates this tree of branching possibilities. It actively generates a bunch of different ideas, it judges their potential, and then, this is the important part, it dedicates its brain power to exploring only the most promising branches. It's effectively learning as it goes. And look, this isn't just some neat theory. The original research from folks at Princeton and Google DeepMind found that using TOT can improve an AI's performance on really complex reasoning tasks by a huge 10 to 60% compared to the standard ways. That just shows you the incredible power of this kind of structured, multi-path exploration. Okay, so how does this actually work? Like, what's going on behind the scenes? Well, it's a surprisingly elegant four-step process that basically brings some order to the chaos of brainstorming. So first, it generates a bunch of different thoughts or approaches to the problem. Then, and this is the really clever part, it evaluates them against specific criteria you give it. It pursues the paths that score the highest, and, just as important, it prunes, or just cuts off, the paths that aren't working out. It's like a gardener trimming away the dead branches to help the healthy ones really grow. This is what we mean by intelligent exploration. It's not just random guessing. Let's make this real for a second. Imagine you ask an AI to brainstorm a new marketing campaign. With TOT, it doesn't just spit out a list of ideas. It actually scores them, like you can see right here in this table. It's basically being forced to show its work. In this case, content and SEO scores the highest because it's got that great balance of high impact with a lower cost. This explicit scoring lets the AI decide which path is worth digging into, and it makes its whole thinking process totally transparent to you. All right, now for the fun part. Let's see what this actually looks like in the real world. I gave an AI a complex business problem, first with a standard prompt, and then again using a tree of thought structure. And the difference, as you're about to see, is honestly night and day. So with the standard prompt, I got this. I mean, come on. This is the classic non-committal summary, right? Yeah, it's technically correct, but it's not a strategy. It just puts all the work right back on me to figure out what to do. It's just shallow. But now, look at this. Using a TOT prompt, the AI gives a clear, phased-out recommendation. It even suggests a hybrid approach is probably the best path overall. See? This isn't just an answer anymore. It's an actual strategic roadmap. This is the kind of deep, nuanced thinking we were hoping for all along. So is this the magic bullet you should use for every single prompt? Well, not exactly. Tree of Thoughts is an incredibly powerful tool, but like any specialized tool, it's really designed for specific jobs. You want to pull this out for the big, complex, open-ended stuff, where finding the absolute best solution is what really matters. things like strategic planning or creative problem solving. But for just checking a fact or doing simple math, it's complete overkill. I mean, you wouldn't use a sledgehammer to hang a picture frame, right? And here's the trade-off you've always got to remember. Because 2T is exploring so many different paths, it uses about 2 to 5 times more computational resources, or tokens. And that's exactly why you save it for the big problems, the ones where that deeper level of analysis is truly going to pay off. You know, when you start using prompts like this, you really start to shift your whole relationship with AI. It stops being just a tool you use to fetch answers and starts becoming a genuine collaborator, something that can explore, evaluate, and strategize right alongside you. So, what are the big things to take away from all this? First, just remember that Tree of Thoughts explores many paths, not just one. That's what allows it to find the optimal solution, not just the first one it stumbles upon. Second, it's best for your most complex, strategic, and creative challenges. And finally, and this is probably the most important thing, the quality of your AI's answer is directly tied to the structure of your prompt. And that leaves us with this one last, really fascinating question to chew on. By structuring our prompts to mirror a more deliberate, more exploratory thought process, are we really just teaching an AI how to think? Or are we actually building a framework that helps us think more clearly, more strategically, and more creatively than we ever have before?